Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's the Wrestling Classic. Justin here, and we are back for another episode of the TWC Show. Before we get into the mix of everything, I just want to say thank you to everybody that checked out my article on 1:37 p.m. on Bret the Hitman Hart and his 30 greatest matches. I'm wearing all Bret right now. If you're on the Patreon, you can see that. I might post a clip on Instagram. I'll let you know. But other than that, guys, thank you. If you haven't, click the link in my bio, look at 1:37 p.m. articles, and check them all out. Also, if you guys are listening to this right now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and it's your first time around, please hit the follow button or subscribe button. If you're on Apple Podcasts, leave a review and a rating. Show us some love. I also want to say before we move forward, we will not be really covering Crown Jewel on this episode because if you haven't looked, we already covered it. We did a whole live stream with me and Neesin. Actually, both people that are on the show today, Neesin and Santana, were a part of that live stream that we did. And I shared the audio of that already to the TWC Show feed. So if you are already following or subscribed, you would have got the notification that there was a Crown Jewel bonus episode where me and Neesin covered every match from top to finish, and then Santana hopped on and we talked about the women's matches on Crown Jewel, and then also the PWI top 150 list that she talked about on Women's Wrestling Talk, which I'll let her plug in a second. That being said, guys, let me introduce you to my co-host this week. First and foremost, we got what I was just talking about, Santana from Women's Wrestling Talk. How are you?
I'm great.
You're
so
great.
Happy to be here.
So happy to be
here representing one half of the Salt Shakers, the most dominant tag team that there is.
Just one.
Who's the other half? I'm not allowed to say the name. I might get sued.
We're not going to say the name, but like I said, one half of the Salt Shakers. That's all that matters.
And also with me today is none other than Neesin from THS Wrestling. What is going on, my boy? How are we doing today?
Oh man, I'm just a cool ass black man trying to do cool ass things with my cool ass friends. That is how I am doing. That's it, man. You know.
Neesin, let me ask you, when's the next video coming out that I recorded out in Cali earlier last month? I'm curious. We dropped the top 5 draft move predictions or choices, but what's next?
Carmella's actually next. Didn't know it was her birthday the other day and that she was getting engaged. Congratulations and all those things.
Yeah, happy birthday, Carmella, and happy congratulations on getting engaged to Corey Graves. I know Santana's laughing right now because she thinks my congratulations come with tears, but they do not. I'm very happy for both of them. They both support the page. They're both friends of mine.
I'm a little on Santana's side on this one.
Leah and Matt, Corey and Carmella, whatever you want to call
them. Cool. It should drop Monday. Hopefully, fingers crossed. We are just going in through the final editing stages. But hey, by the time you hear this, it should already be out, most likely. Because people have lives and stuff.
Yeah, but happy birthday to the most beautiful woman in all WWE, Carmella, and congratulations to them both.
Okay.
In all positiveness, there's no negativeness. There's no salt here, Mrs. Salt Shaker. I can't even see that.
I didn't say anything.
I can see you. Anyone watching on the Patreon can see you too. So
I didn't say anything.
Speaking about salt, we got to talk about the biggest drama of the week, the thing that's been talked about the most the last couple of days. We will talk about a whole bunch of other stuff moving on in the show, like Bound for Glory and Dynamite and Rampage. But we got to talk about all this controversy surrounding none other than the Queen, the GOAT, Charlotte Flair, one of the GOATs. I can't.
Don't make me jump to you.
Because there is someone I like a little bit better than Charlotte Flair, and you guys all already know who that is. And I'll let Neesin allow you.
Who is it?
Who is it, Neesin?
The boss, the blueprint, the standard, the GOAT, the queen of the sale, the DDT Mandalorian, the draw, the conversation, Sasha Banks.
And that is that. But we need to talk about what's up with that face, Santana. We need to talk
it's
about
cool now, but I mean, I don't even want to get involved because
who's the GOAT for you, Santana? Who's the modern day GOAT?
You already know who I'm with. I'm with the EST of WWE.
Oh.
The quicker, the tougher, the rougher, the fastest, the best. Like, girl, she go here now. Okay.
No arguments against this. No arguments against this.
Look at this happy medium before we get into the negativity. That is what happened here. What happened here? Guys, if you're not watching the video, I put up a picture of Charlotte dropping the belt in the middle of the ring during the infamous belt swap. I'm going to break down what happened before we get into it. But first things first, I want to say for everyone that was on the internet, I also did not like the idea of a belt swap. It's not my favorite thing. I really wish that they would have went ahead and got creative with it. You know, you could have Bianca beat Charlotte on Raw. You could have Sasha win a crown jewel. Everything could have been perfectly fine and set what it's supposed to be. But they wanted to keep the belts on Becky and Charlotte. And then we got that email that tonight on SmackDown, we're going to have a belt swapping ceremony. And the internet got livid. The internet, especially Twitter, was really mad about this belt swap thing. Listen, I don't
Twitter
like it
never
either.
not mad. Twitter's
Fair enough, because listen, I didn't like the idea either. I've talked about for weeks how much I don't like that idea of them just swapping belts. I wish that the women's titles were distinctive, similar to the world titles and the Intercontinental US, or maybe just have different names with the WWE women's title and the world women's title, like so that you don't have to worry about swapping belts because they're color coordinated and stuck to a brand. Like I wish they would move to that direction, but no, we had to do a belt swap. I wasn't that mad about it. Like it is what it is, but man, people were pissed off about the belt swap. How would you guys feel about that whole concept? Go ahead.
I mean, I guess it worked with the, the Street Profits and the New Day, but I feel like for the women, like I feel as if like, Bianca should have went over on Raw, but you can kind of tell within that match towards the end that there was something that's just was kind of off. They were already running out of time anyway, so there was just a way to kind of just. I knew that for a fact that there are stories that are saying that Charlotte did want to lose to Bianca on Monday, but I guess creative felt that she shouldn't have lost. But as far as like exchanging the titles, I never care for the exchange of titles anyway. I felt that maybe they should have just had a match winner take all. Like I said, Bianca should have just won on Monday and then inserted Charlotte into the match at Saudi or something like that of that nature. And then like that could have been, it could have either been Sasha or Charlotte winning at Saudi so that we wouldn't have to worry about no title being exchanged, because the situation that happened on Friday would have never even transpired.
And to your credit, like before SmackDown even aired, we talked about like, oh, they still have time to get creative, even though they announced this ceremony. Like maybe they'll do the ceremony in the middle of early in the show and it'll lead to a match for the main event. And as the show went on, we realized we didn't have an actual main event. But then when it came down to like, oh, there's only 10 minutes left and they got to swap belts. Okay, they're literally just swapping belts. Neesin, how did you feel about the belt swap?
I mean, I hated it like everybody else, but I think what I hated the most was you alluded to something else happening. And I think they took what they seen an outpour of Twitter. So they're like, okay, let's have you guys in wrestling gear for no apparent reason. Let's talk about maybe I'll become Becky 2 belts again for no apparent reason. So you allude to all these things just to give us a title swap and then a setup for what's going to keep us busy until Survivor Series, really until Rumble with Sasha and Charlotte, and then sending Becky off for Mary Way. Like, let's be honest and let's be real. Everybody in that ring, Becky and Sasha are the biggest things in that ring. That crowd was chanting Becky and it only took Sasha to shut them up. Like, so for some odd reason, it's a thing of, like you said, Sasha could have exited Crown Jewel with the title. You could have still had the Charlotte thing. Bianca could have got the title on Monday Night Raw and the story, and then you could have had Becky. You could have had Becky and Bianca, which that's definitely where they're going anyway. And you still could have had that story. So for some reason, they wanted to stick old, and it just didn't work. And this is what we see.
And to your point, like that, and I said that even on the show last week, I'm like, they're gonna have, even though there's a plethora of women on Raw and there's a plethora of women on SmackDown, you need to get Bianca and Becky out of the way on Raw first, so that's gonna be the first feud. Then you're gonna have to get Sasha and Charlotte out of the way first, because the last thing, because as much as I want to see Sasha and Charlotte, I don't want to see that as the WrestleMania feud. So you're gonna have to do it before WrestleMania. So whoever Charlotte or Sasha, whoever the SmackDown Women's Champion is at that point, is gonna be feuding Shayna or somebody else at that time, because because everyone knows Sasha, Charlotte, same brand. It's either we do it now or we do it later down the road. Let's just do it now, because that's the two biggest egos on the brand.
But do you want to see Sasha and Charlotte? Like, do you really want to see Sasha and Charlotte?
I think I said on my post, this is a different Sasha and Charlotte than 2016. They're both more seasoned. Both their heads have gotten bigger. The bigger egos. They've accomplished a lot more, both of them. And we really haven't, like, we've seen them cross paths, whether it was triple threat matches on SmackDown, Survivor Series, like stuff like that. But we've never seen a Sasha Charlotte feud since 2016.
But I would say this, that, yeah, we could always go back to that. But we just have a plethora of new women superstars on that roster which they did with Becky and Sasha before. They split them up at first so they could build these women up. You literally could have put Sasha versus anybody for the next couple of weeks or months.
So
Charlotte versus anybody for the next couple of weeks or months to build them up into actual like main event stars, rather than just having 2 main event stars and the rest are all mid card to low card.
Considering what we just came off of with the whole 4-way situation with Becky, Bianca, Sasha, and Charlotte, I feel like Sasha not wanting that belt and just forgetting about the belt already would be wrong. So like you had to do this first. And the thing, the Raw side's a little bit different because you have an Asuka and you have an Alexa and you have Rhea Ripley there and this and that. The SmackDown side, if you really look at the women that are on the SmackDown side, you had a point that a lot of them aren't at that level yet. And they're going to get at the level working with these girls.
None of them. Name a person.
The only person I can think that could potentially be a feud, and we did a little game in Clubhouse yesterday, was like everyone predict what you think the WrestleMania women's matches are going to be by WrestleMania this year. Because I'm like, last year around this time, I already felt like Bianca was going to win the Rumble, and I wanted Bianca and Sasha. Last year around this time, I didn't really know what was going to happen with the Raw title. I thought it was going to be Charlotte and Rhea, but it wasn't the case. But those are my 2. I'm like, this year I can't really predict it, but if I wanted to,
supposed to be, yeah.
If I wanted to predict it, I'm like, I kind of see it being Shayna and Charlotte by WrestleMania, because Shayna's the only other person that you can try to build up quicker, because they already tried a little bit to get it that way. Finally, let Shayna beat Charlotte and let Shayna get that rub. And hopefully Sasha doesn't win the Rumble and goes fights Bianca on the other side, because I really want Bianca Sasha too in a singles match.
I'm just so upset at the idea of Shayna versus Charlotte. I'm sorry.
That's the only. Why would you be upset about that? Like,
as a WrestleMania main event, I think that you have the opportunity. One, you have the opportunity to build multiple stars on that brand, right? Like you have these 2 incredible wrestlers that could really make anybody. We've seen every single person have their best match with Sasha. We've seen Charlotte being able to elevate every single person by her cutting promos on them, her being the consummate heel, and them coming out and people wanting to cheer for them, right?
Yeah, so, beating Charlotte means something. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Beating Charlotte means something.
It means something.
Yeah.
I just think that Shayna, in order to get there, Shayna has to beat her now. Like, right? Like Shayna had, like, to me, it should have been Shayna versus Charlotte now. Like this is the feud. This is the feud that we should be seeing pay off at Royal Rumble. Her versus Charlotte at Royal Rumble.
I feel like it's November. Go ahead, Santana.
I mean, but you gotta look at Shayna's run being on Raw though. It was completely trash. They have literally deteriorized this woman from how she was in NXT. She was a beast. She was a powerhouse. She was dominant. She was scary. Yep. She gets to the main roster. She gets paired with Nia Jax. She becomes a tag team champion, but she lost. She had a losing streak throughout 2020. Shayna had a terrible losing streak. It was worse than Sasha Banks' WrestleMania moments. Never going to happen. But still, just to say, like, I mean, her coming to SmackDown, hopefully maybe this is a way to rebuild who Shayna was in NXT and make her that dominant person, so that now maybe with the help of Sonya Deville, maybe she can insert herself between what Sasha and Charlotte has going on right now.
So, I would. That's what
Shayna helps Sonya with the Naomi problem. Sasha feuds Charlotte. Once Sasha and Charlotte are done, Shayna gets awarded an opportunity at Charlotte. She ends up beating Charlotte, not for the title, but she ends up beating Charlotte. Does not get that title shot. She goes, wins the Rumble or something. She gets Charlotte.
But that here we go again with the challenger beating the champion, but not for a title, and then going off to like, that's the corniest thing. Like it's
the WWE. I'm trying to think in there.
I know you're thinking within. I'm thinking for something new, like you just said, Santana, right? Like she had a terrible run on Raw. And I think the one thing they did, and we all know in WWE, the one thing they can do is they don't have to abide by wins or losses. They could heat anybody up within a 3-week period and cool them off within one night, right? Like that is the power of WWE. So I think one thing they did was they were sending her off as the bone collector. And it didn't really, the matches of the Queen's Crown didn't really hurt Shayna because she lost in a sneaky pin type of way, right? So it didn't really hurt her in no sense. She still looks strong, whatever the case. So now she's going off to SmackDown, and she could continue to be the bone collector, hopefully, of sort. So why not? That's what I'm saying. Like, why not build that? Give us that dominant Charlotte or dominant Shayna chasing Charlotte, like really chasing her as this monster.
And Charlotte trying to avoid her.
Well, yeah, thank you, Justin. Taking words out of my mouth. But no, that's not what I was gonna say, Justin. She's a queen, right? So she's not really trying to avoid her, but she's coming up short every time. And it always works better when you have multiple people rotating around a title, not just two people. And that's why I was so upset to go back to Sasha and Charlotte right now. We don't need that. You could literally take anybody and Sasha could go off and make her, right? Like, hey, go be the boss badass Sasha against Liv Morgan, have everybody cheer for Liv Morgan.
Lives on the other show.
You said what?
Lives on the other
Lives
show.
on Raw. So
I don't even know who was on SmackDown.
Okay, so we got Tony Storm.
Tony Storm. Yes. Oh, Tony Storm. Yes.
Blackheart.
Tony Storm. Please do that. They said Shotzi's turning heel, so that'd be crazy.
Naomi, Mia Yim.
Like
Mia Yim's on the Raw.
Oh, who the fuck?
Yeah, she's
that's what I mean. Like, that's the problem with SmackDown, though. Do you see what the problem is? They don't have anyone that's really established besides Charlotte and Sasha. Naomi's doing her thing with Sonya,
but that's why.
And Shayna's someone that can come in there and be a murderer for a bit until she gets a title shot.
Yeah, but I think she needs. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why you take this time so we can get. Look, we all know this time.
Who else would you have going against
supposed to be
Charlotte and Sasha then?
This time is supposed to be the time going into like where people don't watch, right? People's focused on football, basketball is on.
Yeah.
People are going out to dates and movies and etc. Like, they're not really focused on wrestling. So give us something while you're building this instead of just giving us a hot segment that's going to end up in the same results at Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. That's all I'm saying.
Anyways, the only reason I was cutting off is we need to get back on track. We're supposed to be talking about this.
This thing. Yeah, that thing. We shouldn't talk about
Shayna and Sasha and Charlotte. Yeah. Which obviously I didn't want to talk about Sasha for Charlotte because I am looking really forward to that. But let's break down what exactly happened. Okay. So this is the word. I'm going to break down what happened. And you guys tell me if I missed anything or add anything in there. Neesin, if you have more info, let me know. Basically, the word on the internet is this. Charlotte wasn't happy about the entire title swap situation the entire time, was against it, thought it was a dumb idea. Didn't want her title reign to look weak, just handing over the title, yada, yada, yada. They go out there to go do it. You know, there's a part of me, I could be wrong, there's part of me that also makes me feel like Becky really wasn't down with the title swap.
Everybody wasn't down with it, by the way.
Because she was talking about, Becky 2 belts to have a match. Nobody thought the idea was great. As much as the fans didn't, neither did the people participating in it and half the people that worked back there. They go out there to do the title swap. You could feel the tension in the air, okay? These are two big egos and two of the top stars in the company. Becky and Charlotte are two of the most, the four horsewomen are the pillars in my mind of the women's division. And you can add an Asuka and Alexa Bliss, but for me, it's the four horsewomen holding that place up, right? They are meant to swap titles. They asked Charlotte to hand the title over first. Becky puts her hand out to reach it. Charlotte puts it out. Becky goes to get it. She puts it back and drops it. Supposedly, allegedly, that wasn't scripted to happen. That was dropped. Then we'll get to you. Everyone gets to give their opinion in a second. I'm just going to say
she's telling you. She's correcting you.
Technically, I'm looking at the video right now. Technically, Sonya asked for Becky to give the title first. Becky was holding on to it, didn't want to give it up. So she turned over to Charlotte. Charlotte pretty much just turned her head. She's over there looking the opposite way, just standing there. Like, she's over it. You can tell that Becky's over it. You can tell that Sonya's like, look, y'all been to give me the title and let's just go ahead and get this over with so I can go home. But, she asked for Charlotte's now, and Charlotte, she's taking her time because, like, obviously these two are, like you said, not ready, don't even want to be a part of this. And there could have been something that have happened backstage way before the after the incident that took place inside of the ring. So then you see that.
What happened in the ring? Keep going on about in the
ring.
Okay,
so Sonya's trying to get the belt from Charlotte. Then Becky reaches in to try to grab the belt, and accidentally, Charlotte lets it go. Like, if you want it, go get it, type thing.
So that's part of the issue. Some people say accidentally, and some people think she purposely dropped the belt.
Mm-hmm.
Go on.
Yeah, and then she picks it up. Sonya tells Charlotte to pick up the title, and then Charlotte picks it up and gives it to Sonya. And then Sonya asks Becky to, give her the title, the SmackDown Women's title, and then Becky tosses it at Charlotte. She throws it at Charlotte, and Charlotte lets the belt fall on the ground. Mm-hmm. And then she picks it up, And then now they're both standing in the ring, just looking at each other, and Charlotte holds the SmackDown Women's title up.
And then she said, though, do you guys want to see a match tonight?
Yeah.
Thing. And then
basically
that was the cue for Sasha to come out, because that was originally planned for Sasha to come out and kick off the Sasha Charlotte thing. They did that. Sasha, the one I know we're talking about Becky and Charlotte, but I want to say this is, and I give Sasha a lot of flack for one thing. As much as I love her and she's my favorite women's wrestler, the one thing I always give her flack for is that her mic skills aren't always the greatest, and she's fucking up words, and she sounds like a valley girl, and it doesn't sound authentic. This sounded great tonight. Like, she sounded exactly how she was supposed to sound. She didn't fuck up any words. She didn't stumble over any words, and she carried herself probably the best I've seen her most times. I almost feel like she wasn't trying to remember a script more than she usually is. Neeson's shaking his head, but that's my only biggest flaw. Sasha is she's not the greatest promo. I will stand by that.
He's not, like,
compared to a Sasha, compared to a Charlotte, a Becky, she's not the greatest promo. She's the greatest wrestler out of them all. I think she's the best wrestler out of them all personally, but she's not the greatest promo. But she held on. She actually cut a really good promo, and she's actually seemed more confident than she's ever seen before that night. Then the word is that they went backstage after the show went off the air. And so obviously Becky, or not obviously, it was as I assumed when they came out in the wrestling, I'm like, oh, maybe Becky or Charlotte have a dark match than me. So Becky did have a dark match for after the show. Allegedly, Charlotte went back there and still continued to cause a scene. Was not happy about what went down. Her and Becky had some words for each other. And then Charlotte was escorted out of the gorilla area per request by Vince, supposedly. And packed her bags and went to AEW to watch her husband wrestle. Or fiance or whatever they are. Neesin, do you have anything you want to say about this? Because I feel like you have more information, and I might be clouded with what I said there.
I am. Look, I'm gonna stick to what's out. So So there's clearly conflicting reports. It's Vince kicked her out.
We know nothing but what we.
It was also she just left, right? She left, and Vince is mad that she just left. So. Speculation nation is what basically we're doing, right? We're living this, we're speculating, and it's all like word of word. The one thing that is clear, that is no one but 3 people wanted to do this title swap. Not the people in the ring, not the wrestlers in the back, the producers. No one wanted to do this, but they do their job as they should. Now, it looked like it was an accident when Charlotte dropped the belt, but also looked like she didn't give a damn if she dropped the belt. And that is the issue. Kudos to Sonya for being in the moment enough to be like, pick it up, and to really be like, yo, no, pick that up. Like, we're not about to play this game. I don't care if you don't want to do it or not. But that's just being in the moment. That is great improv. Kudos. Now, I do think that WWE is going to run with this, because I would tell you this. If this didn't happen, no one would have gave a flying fuck to see Becky versus Charlotte at Survivor Series. Everybody else would have wanted. They would have screamed for Bianca Belair to be somehow in a match. They would have screamed for Sasha to be somehow in a match, unless you brought up like, unless Asuka came back or Io Shirai. Something crazy else would have happened. But I think they're just capitalizing on this more and more. This is what, as wrestling fans, gets us talking. This is what gets the Twitter going. This is what's going to get more engagements, retweets, responses than anything else, is that Becky's being the consummate person. She's the professional, and Charlotte's always being a brat, and this and this and that. And people are looking at Becky as the hero, and Charlotte isn't the hero. But I bet you we're going to see Charlotte on Friday and Becky on Monday. And now Becky is probably going to be even a bigger baby face than they were trying to make her be. And it's going to be a bigger match at Survivor Series.
How do you feel about that narrative, Santana, about Becky being the hero and Charlotte's this hard to work with person? Because that's what's been going out today, that Charlotte's a hard to work with person. Nobody wants to work with her. You know, she feels entitled, and that she thinks about her character the same way. Has the same type of attitude that guys like Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels used to back in the day, when they really cared about their character and spot. But Charlotte shouldn't be that entitled compared to those people. And like yada yada yada. Like, how do you feel about this? And that Becky is just this perfect person that was put in this situation out of her hand and tried to be a consummate professional, and it didn't go her way. So it was good for Becky to stand up to Charlotte. Like, how do you feel about this entire narrative?
Santana, and to add to Justin, I want to also know, why do you think it's okay for them to not have that attitude, but for them to have that attitude, but she can't have that attitude?
Well, I think she's allowed to, in my mind. But go ahead, Santana.
Yeah, I was gonna definitely bring a point up. I feel like I feel like it's all standard when it comes to women's wrestlers and male wrestlers, where women are not allowed to feel any type of way they feel because they're women. They don't literally consider us to be as equal as the male counterparts and whatnot. So like your Stone Colds and your Shawn Michaels and your Bret Harts and the list goes on and on, who have felt entitled about keeping their spot and not looking weak in front of. If you carry yourself as a champion, you're going to want to be able to conduct certain type of situations like the champion, not look weak. But I don't fault Charlotte for feeling the way she feels, because everybody in this world feels the exact same way when someone tries to play like they soft. Point blank, period. And so she has the right to feel that type of way. And I wish they didn't try to make a gender thing at all whatsoever, because we're all humans. We all bleed the same exact way. So we are going to feel some type of way when certain things happen. In regards to them trying to say that Charlotte is difficult to work with, I feel like they're just trying to play on to what happened on Friday, and to try to tear down her character. Charlotte is one of the most hated out of the 4 horsewomen because of who she is, her athleticism, and her ability to bring relevancy to every title that she hails. Whatever storyline she's in, she brings relevancy to it. So, and everybody always say, "Oh, Charlotte shouldn't be." Charlotte always getting opportunities because of her last name. Charlotte this, Charlotte that.
She's outgrown that. She's proved herself.
She is bigger than her last name. She is, like, anybody can say whatever they want to say, but Charlotte is bigger than her last name.
To a casual fan, she might still be Ric Flair's daughter, but to a hardcore fan, like, we know Charlotte Flair for Charlotte Flair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cool, but ain't nobody checking for her father anyway. So, but what I will say is that for them to try to, this is just something that they are capitalizing on, because Charlotte is most hated, and they feel as if like, oh, well, we got so much Charlotte that we can go ahead and add more stories to it and add more different things of what transpired backstage to get more people trying to share their own opinions of the hatred that they have towards this woman. And at the end of the day, I know I'm not the biggest Charlotte Flair fan. However, I understand right from wrong, and Charlotte should not be painted as this person who is bad or mean or she's entitled, because she has the right to be. She's worked her ass off to get to where she is, to not be in the shadow of who her father is, to literally be who Charlotte herself. Forget Charlotte Flair, to be who Ashley is at that point. Because I just feel like if it was somebody else, they will not be having this much noise for them.
Go ahead, Neesin.
Question for you, Santana. Do you think that people are having a difficult time to separate Charlotte Flair and Ashley as a person?
100%.
I feel like it. I feel like they think Charlotte is who Ashley is.
But doesn't that not happen with every wrestler? I think that happens with every wrestler.
I think
so much.
But I think it is harder for the women. I do think there's a double standard, because there's a lot of comparisons you can give. People called Sasha Banks a crybaby for wanting time off and wanting to take a break when she felt mentally like her mental health wasn't the greatest. But if CM Punk wanted to quit and walk out, a lot of people look at CM Punk as like a hero. Sometimes like, there's just a whole bunch of examples I can give. And then, Shawn Michaels lost his goddamn smile, so Sasha can't lose her smile. It's there's a lot of double standards. But I don't think it's Charlotte's fault. I don't think it's anybody's fault. I think emotions were running high. I think they were heated. I think everyone thought it was a dumb idea. And she's allowed to feel a certain way about the way her character and herself is portrayed on television. All the greatest do. Vince probably fucking loves this. Vince probably loves that he's probably thriving. There's some actual competition. This is real. Like, to Neeson's point, they probably will make it Charlotte versus Becky at Survivor Series just because of this. Because Vince loves this shit. Real life tension. Why the hell were Shawn and Bret fighting each other at Survivor Series when they were pulling each other's hair out backstage?
Well, this is what we as fans like, and especially hardcore fans, smart, whatever you want to label it as, this is what gets us interested into actually watching WWE. I'm not going to say all of professional wrestling. It's just with WWE, we know that it's such big with the theatrics and the production that you have to give us more on the realism side, right? So the minute you start blending the lines more of what we always say, if they, and I know personally that like those writers, when you talk about creative, They know what we want. They're reading on Twitter like we should use this, and they're getting turned down.
Oh no!
Everything
I always say that about the writers. Everyone always shits on the writers, but you can't shit on them. There's only so many hoes that are gonna try Dynamite, but don't think they don't have the same ideas we have. They're not dumb. And a lot of them follow my page and read the shit. They know what we want.
And not only the writers, but the wrestlers. Like multiple conversations with wrestlers, with active wrestlers. Like we read this, we love this, or we try to pitch things like this before we even seen it on Twitter, and it's getting turned down. I think now, the reason why I asked you that, Santana, about Ashley and Charlotte being able to separate the two, WWE has gone out of their way to showcase their entertainers as regular, genuine people. And then show us their character in ring. I mean, you talk about all the podcast licensing they do, all these documentaries they're showing. They went out of their way to do that. And even for a person like Sasha, like all those false, by the way, and I would say that with definition, false rumors of all this, like crying, being a crybaby and all these things. And she's saying like, no, like it was really my mental health and these things were happening. It's never about a title. Like you could see that in the Talking Smack thing she did last Saturday, if you guys watch it. And she talked about how like every time she talked about Crown Jewel, she almost cried. She was just like being in a ring with these two people that I respect the most. She's not supposed to say like, you're not supposed to talk about Becky like that, about how you respect, but she's gushing over being in the ring with them. She's gushing over creating these moments. That's how much she loves it. And I think it's us fans that we can't separate. Look, Charlotte, Ashley loves this. Like she loves this business. She's grown to love it. She's grown to accept that that hate that everybody gives her. I know Pingle and Justin talk about Charlotte a lot, and it's mainly because she's been given the same treatment as Roman Reigns for almost just as long. She's been put in the position. No, you're cutting me off. You don't want to, so don't. So she's been put in the same position as Roman Reigns, and that's why people have not liked her. Now they're really allowing her to do the same thing Roman Reigns is saying, is that I've been the best, I'm still the best, and you can't do anything about it because my family has been doing this for longer than you've been breathing, and it's been in my blood. That's literally what Charlotte Flair is saying, is that I'm the opportunity. You guys don't understand this. Yeah, I have Flair. They gave me the name Flair back because that's who I am, and I accept it. And I'm going to surpass any thoughts of just being Charlotte, Ric Flair's daughter. And she's done that. So people hate it, and that's amazing. But Ashley is not a bitch. She's not all those things. She just loves her job. So I think, as fans, as we sit here and talk about this and character stuff, like we could we could talk about the character, but we shouldn't be speculating on speculations of her being a terrible person, because she's not. Like she's not. Let's not do that.
I've talked to her. She's cool. She's dope. She's always
not saying.
My whole point, to your point though, like with Roman and Charlotte, they would never ask for this spot. They never asked to be given those opportunities like that. They were given them. They were given that. They were pushed into be in that position. They wanted Roman to be the face of the men's division. They pushed Charlotte to be who Charlotte Flair is. Charlotte didn't say, give me this. They gave her that. And now she's owning it.
And she earned it. She earned it.
She earned it, but like she's owning it, like, right? Like, she lived up to what they tried to give her. She took every opportunity. She succeeded at it. And now that she's in that position, you know what? She has the fucking. We hear stuff about Roman saying this is stupid. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. Why is it an issue if Charlotte says I don't want to do this? I want to do that. What's the double standard there?
They do talk about Roman saying that she doesn't want to do it.
But I don't feel like it's this heated. Like they're like, I don't go on dirt sheets and people like, it seems almost like they're trying to smear Ashley Flair's name over.
Oh, absolutely.
When Roman says it's more like, oh, this is backstage politics. But Charlotte's like, she's nobody wants to work with her. All the women are saying like they're glad somebody finally stepped up to her and her big ego. Like that's not like, don't believe everything you read.
Everybody's intimidated if they're gonna say that. I just think that maybe they're just intimidated by Charlotte Flair presence and who she is backstage, or who she is and how the character that she is and whatnot. So I just feel like maybe they are intimidated, and maybe that needs a way. That maybe that's a way for them to learn how to step their shit up, step your game up. If you want to be in this position here, go out there and do the fucking work like I do, and then maybe you will get a title opportunity. Maybe you'll be in the double digits. Maybe you'll be eventually in the Hall of Fame that hasn't even been talked about yet. Maybe so. Get your TV time or something like that, or get jobbed out by somebody else.
Like, and also, like, just a side note for everybody that might be younger listening to this that follows my page, don't believe everything you read on Twitter and on the dirt sheets. 90% of it's probably not true. If someone goes, because there's some ridiculous ass shit out, like they sent Sasha out there to save the segment. No, that was planned. Oh, Charlotte said there's an off-camera video of Charlotte writing AEW in the sky. I don't know. Does anybody have the video? Oh, Charlotte went to the back. She said she's gonna go to AEW and watch her husband or fiance. Like, there's all these, everybody's going up to Becky and saying, "Thank you, Becky. Thank you for standing up to Charlotte, the big scary Charlotte." Like, all this shit that's on. And I literally read that today, that people were going up to Becky and like, "Yo, thank you, Becky, for standing up to her." Like, but and people are going to go out there and believe that. And that's a fucking problem with dirt sheets and news reporters. And I read something the other day, and this is kind of going off topic, but like someone was talking about the Hit Row debut and everything. I'm like, oh, they were supposed to work with Jinder and Shanky. Oh, plans changed. Let me find out why the plans changed. And I read that. And listen, I'm not going to say who said that, because I actually am a big fan of the person.
SRS. I say it for you.
I'm a big fan of him, and I think he's one of the most credible people out there. So I don't want to smear his name. But when I read that, I'll go find out what happened. I'm like, who gives a fuck? And why do people want to fucking know? You know why wrestling fans are so fucking toxic now? Is because there's this generation of wrestling fans that want to know everything that fucking happens backstage as if they were standing back there and catering, sipping a fucking coffee. And then they come on when something happens that's supposed to be a surprise, but, well, that was fucking predictable. SRS said this like 2 weeks ago, an hour before the show. No shit, it's fucking predictable if you're out there to find the fucking answers. How about you just sit back, enjoy the show, so when something surprises you, you can legitimately get surprised, because they're trying to book things to surprise you. But if you're trying to go out of your way to find out everything that's happening before it happens, or who's spotted backstage, or who was scheduled to do what, then yeah, it's not going to be fun for you, because you already know what's going to happen, because you went out of the way to find it. And then you still come on my page and bitch about spoilers. You're the same person, okay? I find it so like annoying when people say, like, I forget exactly what the situation was. This is a while back, and it happens all the time. But I remember one specifically where I got super excited about something happening, and I posted, I'm like, holy shit, this happened. And people commented like, well, Meltzer reported this like 2 weeks ago. Well, guess what? I don't read the newsletter. Usually I try to stay away from dirt sheets and news as much as I can. And I only come across stuff because I'm scrolling through Instagram and Twitter. Like, that's the only reason I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. But I don't go out there and seek the news or seek the information. I stopped doing that in like 2012 when I realized that was ruining wrestling for me. I like to be surprised. I like to not know things. I built my whole page on like the only thing I know about wrestling is I know nothing at all, because I enjoy that. We don't know what the fuck happened with Becky and Charlotte. We can only speculate. We can only read what we read and hear what we say. The only people that know, to Neesin's point, is Charlotte, Becky, and whoever else was in that gorilla position, and maybe the Sashas and the other people that are around the area. We don't know. So if you're going to judge Charlotte, or you're going to judge Becky Lynch, or whatever you're going to do, like, just don't, because we don't fucking know. And if we've learned anything for the past 4 or 5 years, that Conrad has been doing these podcasts with the Bruce Pritchards and Eric Bischoffs in there, who also might switch a different narrative. But the one thing that is for sure is that they have debunked 99% of the shit that used to be in those newsletters back in the day as this shit that Dave Meltzer made up. Or how does that even make sense?
Well, we know why, because it's we all been to high school, right? Like, we all kicked it in a quad or under a 900 bin or whatever the thing is, and you say something to one person, and then if you walk 50 feet that way, it's a completely different story. Like, that's just how. And if anyone's been in a locker room or some sort, imagine high school and as a locker room size, and that's exactly what backstage is like. So if something's like, yo, I heard something happen here, and then it's a completely different thing, tele-wrestler, like, right? So it's a whole different ball game when it comes to actual truth, and then what gets to a dirt sheet. And I wanted to say one thing about Charlotte. This is just to the audience that's listening. Thanos was misunderstood, and so I understand. I get it. Thanos wasn't a bad guy in his mind. There's just his family. His family was all killed. He was trying to save the world at the end of the day. That's all he was trying to do. Now, he shouldn't have snapped away half of the universe. Granted, he just went about it wrong, genocide, all that shouldn't bad. But in his mind, he was the hero. So I just want to say to the people in the audience, sometimes our villains are our heroes.
And if the casual fans were as in, because even now the casual fans have access to everything because we have Twitter and Instagram, so they will just even see something. The casual fans were as in tune as they are now. Back in the 90s, people would hate Shawn Michaels, people would hate Bret, people would hate Austin, people would hate Terry, people would hate Roddy Piper for never wanting to do a job. All these guys had egos. All these guys were protecting.
Yeah, you better say Terry. Yeah.
All these guys are protecting their spots, and all these guys cared about where they were, how their characters were portrayed on television. So if you're going to be shitting on Charlotte for giving a fuck and being passionate about her craft and wanting to, this is her craft, this is her music, this is her movie that she's making. If she wants to protect her brand and how she's portrayed on television, you gotta let her. You got to be okay with that. And once again, emotions around here. I've acted out in certain ways under the emotions I was feeling in the time, and then like hours later being like, holy shit, maybe I kind of overreacted about that entire situation. I still stand on what I believe in, but I probably could have acted differently, and that's probably what happened. And it's cool, and we're gonna move on, and Becky's gonna go to Raw, Charlotte's gonna stay on SmackDown. We're gonna get this Charlotte Sasha stuff. Becky's gonna do what she does, and I just think everyone needs to, like, we talked about it. We spent like 20 minutes talking about it because it's entertaining to talk about the drama and the gossip and all of that, of course. But the only thing we know is we know nothing. And neither of them are a bad person. No one's the hero over the other. And last question I have is, do you guys think, though, in a couple of years, not because I think she's still signed for a couple of years, is Charlotte leaving in a couple of years?
No.
I think she is.
I think absolutely not. Well, look, I mean, anything is possible now. I think now with big money to play, I think Tony Khan throw the truck at her. But at the same time, WWE has treated her treated her with the utmost respect and taking care of her, rather it's planes, money, whatever she needs, whatever it is, she's proven that she is the queen, well, not Queen's crown, but she is the queen. As also, have you guys figured out that they stopped calling her queen now since Queen's crown? The whole thing, they stopped calling her queen. Pretty interesting. Yeah. But I think she can't leave. Not that she can't, but I don't think she's gonna leave.
No, to your point, I think.
But her versus Jade, oh my God, sign me.
I've said it a bunch of times that I'm like, and that's the other reason why Charlotte can act the way she wants to act, is we've come to a point where WWE is not stupid. They know when it comes to those 4 women, and others included, like Alexa Bliss and a few others. But when it comes to those 4 women specifically, they built them up to a point that losing them would cost them more than, keeping them and having them act up, They need them more than Charlotte. They need Charlotte to be in the WWE more than Charlotte needs to be in the WWE.
Don't say that to Vince. He will prove it. He will prove it to you. Like, no, we don't.
But I mean, at this point, realistically, we just talked about the SmackDown Women's roster. There's like barely anyone that's built up besides Sasha and Charlotte.
Yeah, but I mean, we've been here before. Like that. That's yes.
I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm just saying at this point, like, it would cost them more to lose anyone because they make money. Becky makes some money. Charlotte makes some money. Sasha makes some money.
They know how to heat. That's what I'm saying. Like they're so. I think that's why we get so upset as fans. Like, they're so intelligent because they could heat anyone up that they want to in a span of 3 weeks. It'll literally. If you forget, Shayna Baszler last year when she did the elimination chamber, it took one elimination chamber, for everybody to be like, oh my God, like, this is it. This is the Shayna. Yeah, let's go. And then they just cooled her off.
They cool her off all the time. So we're gonna stop talking about this stuff though.
Let's stop. Let's go to the next thing. Let's go.
Because I just want to say last. I guess we'll talk about SmackDown really quickly, because there's not much I want to talk about. It did feel fresh. It's cool having Drew McIntyre on there. Before I get to the Brock thing, actually, how do you guys feel about Hit Row's debut? We'll start with you, Santana. How do you feel about Hit Row's debut?
I don't care for them.
Oh wow. Okay, it's Neesin, your rebuttal.
Oh my God.
I don't care for them. I didn't care for them when they were in NXT. I don't care for them being on the main roster. I'm glad they got some they spent more money on their attire versus the City Trends outfits that they were wearing in NXT. I will say that Swerve is great in the ring. I will tell you that he's great in the ring. He's great on the mic. I've watched his NXT run. I can care less about Fab B or B Fab, whoever she want to be. I could care less about Top Dollar, who's supposed to be Suge Knight, and Pootie Tang Adonis, whoever he's supposed to be. I mean, it just doesn't. They just don't do it for me. Like, they just don't do it for me. Like, they just don't give me what I need.
How do you feel about that promo?
I went to the bathroom when they came out, so I don't know how I felt. I did see their outfits though. It was really nice. I wish Swerve was matching them, but other than that, I took a bathroom break. They just don't excite me. So I guess them being on SmackDown and they face some jobbers that what? They face some jobbers that I mean, please. That didn't even make them. That doesn't even solidify them as making me feel like they're going to be a top faction on SmackDown. But I will say that I would try to give them an opportunity to prove me wrong. But as of right now, I whatever they pull out, I'm not buying. Thank you for your time. Proceed.
Go ahead, Neesin. The floor is yours.
Okay. First, I was hurt. Right, like it was like, oh, that was a punch, right? Oh, okay. And then he was like, okay, Neesin, your response, and then you just jumped in and just jumped me, like you was just like, elbow jack, and you just kept going.
You went full Michael Myers on him.
I don't even know how long you. Were. All I know is my body went into shock from just numbness of being stabbed and kicked, and just torn apart. Look. Justin, we spoke about how much I love Hit Row. I believe the Top Dollar. I've tweeted this. Top Dollar is gonna be when it all ends. He's gonna be the best rhyme spitter and wrestler that's ever touched those ropes in WWE. Now, look, this is coming. This is coming from the guy that thinks the GOAT is the Invisible Man. Not only because he wrestled for 15 years, but also because the man had a #1 album. It was on 106 in Park. Name another wrestler that's a white boy that was on 106 in Park with a #1 album. I dare you. You can't. You know why? Because it's only one. Now, Top Dollar is that dude. I don't know if anybody ever listened to his stuff outside of whatever, but he could really put some words together. He could really rap, and not even for play. And also, he could really host. If we saw the A&E Treasure thing, the guy's really talented at hosting. And he's a powerhouse in the ring. Like, it's the match made in heaven. I will agree with you that it looked like they shot that up against the wall in like 2006. I understand. I get that. But they got main roster money now. You know, allow them to get their thing off and to develop a little more. Isaiah Swerve Scott, though. This is a guy that I've been a fan of since Defy when he was on the Indies, and I thought he was going to be the biggest NXT star. I thought he had all the tools, but I thought they played him with this dumb EDM music and kept like confidence, and he used to walk all slow. And then especially then when he started coming into spooky season and he didn't really understand it, he had like the metal looked like a 2000 FUBU jacket or something, like the trench coat jacket, and then he died. It was just it got real weird, but then he found it and basically he started being himself. Because he could rap too. Like his rap is different, but he could rap too. And so those are the two dudes that I was super excited about when they got together. Now, the Adontis, Ashanti, the Adontis.
Is it Adonis or Adontis?
I thought, isn't it is it Adonis or
Adonis?
Ashanti? I know his name is
I still call
Ashanti.
him Tahuti. I don't even know his real name.
I call that man Pootie Tang.
Right. So Pootie Tang. I thought it was a weird thing of having him in this group because he doesn't rap. He doesn't do anything musical, but he's the quote unquote producer, whatever.
He's the producer. I was confused about who's the producer and who the rappers are.
So he's the producer. Cool, whatever. This is the first time they said that, by the way. But when he used to come out on 205 Live, I was like, yo, like he just needs something. Because he used to come dressed like how I would just go to like a little burnt spot or something. He'd come out and like wrestle in that. And I'm like, he had a hat. He had like the little plaid joint on. He'd come out fresh. You're like, okay, what's this? And then he'll wrestle in it. You'll be like, oh, okay. He just needs something. And then they put him with this. And I'm like, that sucks. But hopefully it's something when he gets on the main roster. And what did they have him do, guys? Do you guys remember what he was doing?
Futuristic out here with these bubble coats on and stuff like that. I was like,
Well, I mean, because that's honestly that's coming back, which is very weird, and we could talk about that on a fashion podcast. But but what did they have him doing on the side of the ring on SmackDown? Did anybody watch? Or
No.
you didn't watch? You went
No,
to
I
retro-
watched. I don't know. I wasn't paying that much
standing
attention.
around doing some weird shit over
They
there.
had him brushing his eyebrows with a toothbrush.
Right,
Oh, is that what was happening?
Yes,
he was doing a lot of weird shit on the outside of the ring that I just didn't understand. Like,
thank you. I didn't understand. I didn't understand that either, and it was one of those things to where I'm always, I'll try to stay positive. So I'm like, okay, they're gonna start shaving off what and who is Hit Row, right? Like, hey, lose that, lose this, kind of like how the New Day did when they were running through their thing. So they're gonna start making it a fine thing, and we're gonna see New Day versus Hit Row sooner than later. I'm definitely sure. But B-Fab. Now, B-Fab is a rapper, and she was a WNBA player, and she's she's an athlete. She
I
has
feel like
high
I'm
potential.
getting a lesson because I knew nothing about these people like that. Besides two of them, I knew about Swerve and Asia, but go on.
Yeah, and look, B-Fab, I think B-Fab to me has great potential to be on SmackDown, as we just talked about with the women's roster, to really carve out a different niche. You got Ali saying you got Aaliyah saying she's about to bring Bougie to the WWE, which is basically like, to me, they got rid of Carmella to give Carmella to just do another Carmella. You got Xia Li playing just a meaner Asuka without the gimmick stuff. You have all these people playing other characters that we literally just seen, but B-Fab. We have seen no other female like B-Fab. So I really, really, really hope that she gets the opportunity and chance to develop not only as an on-mic character, because she's going to need some work, but also as a character in ring and outside of the ring, because she could add a lot, because they have no females in factions on the main roster. And that's something I've been preaching about. It should be more, if we talk about factions, it should be male and females. It shouldn't just be a group of dudes running around.
There's been a whole group of people that want Naomi to be part of the bloodline because they want stuff like that.
Hell yeah, she should be a part of bloodline. I was mad she wasn't part of the New Day, or they didn't have Sasha part of the New Day. It was a great time back then, when Sasha was doing it. Yeah, that was
when she was twerking and working.
I'm not bringing that up. I'm not bringing that up. She's a happily married woman.
How unbalanced is, please. No. Absolutely not.
I would not be smirching the name. I would not be smirching the name
her, but let's be honest.
Blueprint.
The baby ain't got no rhythm, okay? By no means. That little hip shake she was doing Friday, I thought she was gonna break her hip bone or something, because she was doing a little too much for me. Like, she put more. Is
that when the German side comes out?
If she put more,
not be smirched
preparation on her mic skills than doing her little hip dances, well, maybe she would. I maybe put her at the top with mic skills, but right now her
hips better on the mic. I'm the one that's always.
I will not.
No,
smirch.
Absolutely not.
This is probably why Sasha shows me no love, because as much as I show her love, I'm always like, but this is bad. That is bad.
Yeah, she doesn't show you love, but you know what? She shows me love. Okay, the boss, the blueprint, the standard, the GOAT, the draw, the queen of the ring, the DDT Mandalorian, the conversation. Sasha Banks. She doesn't need to have rhythm. You know why? Because she has coordination in the ring. Okay, you don't see Becky.
Better get some coordination outside the ring, because that ain't it.
The best in
I'm
that
not.
ring.
We're not talking. We're not. I don't know.
No,
her husband is happy, and that's all that matters. Okay, he is happy.
He don't know what he like. He ain't got no rhythm either.
Hey.
No, we're not gonna bring her husband up in here.
Look,
no,
don't tell me. Don't tell me.
Happy birthday, Carmella. Going back to Hit Row. I don't really have much of an opinion on them. What I saw on SmackDown was cool. I'm looking forward to see what they do moving forward. I didn't watch much of their stuff on NXT. I watched the takeovers, and what I did see, to Neeson's point, I did feel, because I'm also a big Swerve fan, since I used to drive down to those Seattle Defy shows. I used to go to them every month, and he had the whole crowd being like, "Whose house? Swerve's house." Like, that was, and I was part of that. I was like, Swerve's house, and I have biases towards certain people, as you guys know. Sasha Banks, Carmella. Swerve is one of those people I have a bias for, because he's one of those guys that always took the time to talk to me every time when he didn't need to. He's selling merch, doing this thing. He's always been cool, and I wish the best for him. And to Neeson's point, they bombed to NXT, and I always was like, what are they doing with him? Why is he doing all this weird stuff? Why are they not using Swerve the way they could use Swerve? And I think when they put Hit Row together, he finally found his groove, and he found something that was more him. And the second thing before I get straight back to Neesin is AJ is the only other person I really know as well. He's someone that's also been a part of this TWC family since like 2015, liking posts, commenting. He's been around. He co-hosted one of these TWC shows in the first like 10 episodes. Like he's been on the show as a co-host before he even signed to the WWE. I know how badly this guy wants this. I know how much he loves professional wrestling. It's the same way I feel happy when I see someone like that jackass MJF have segments with Sting, because I know how big of a fan MJF was before he got to the business that where he is today. And I'm like, I know how happy he is working with Tully. I know how happy he is working with Sting. Like this is like, I'm like living through him. Like, oh man, this is fucking dope.
Happy he's gonna be working with Roman.
Yeah, and that's someone who like I knew before they became a wrestler and is now killing it. And that's the same way I feel about AJ. I know what he was like before he hit the WWE. Now that he's there, like I know how much this means to him. So I have a little bit of a bias when it comes to Swerve and AJ. I didn't know anything about Pootie Tang. I didn't know anything about BFAB. Wish them the best too. But just because I have a bias towards AJ and Swerve, and I consider them people that like supported me with my page and my shenanigans before they made it big time, I'm gonna support them and hope that Hit Row works out great and that both Swerve and AJ become big stars. With my biases.
Yeah, I just want to say to what you just messed me up there. It's great to see on also it's great to see on WWE people that are actually from the culture and live the culture actually be their authentic selves and not being forced by saying about it and butt kisser and all these other things that's going on. You don't have to, like, just because you're black, you don't have to fake black. That's all I'm trying to say. And I think with Hit Row, you see people like Hit Row, you see people like The New Day, you see people like even want to break down to Big E, Kofi, and Xavier in their own different individualities. You see people like Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, and I could go on and on. Omos, right? Like, you don't have to pretend to be a part of something to be accepted by them. And so to Hit Row, you don't see that with them unless you're Shanti Adonis. Brushing your eyebrows and doing all that's just weird. It's weird, man. It's weird. Figure it out. But other than that, you could literally see like they're not faking it. And that's what I love. Like, it's not a fake thing. It's not a thing they're not from that. They're from that. They're cut from that cloth. And so keep on that. Don't have them doing a church gimmick. Don't have them doing anything else. Like, stick with that and it'll fine tune it and it'll be amazing. But just as a black man that comes from music, that comes from all the things that they come from as well, like, it's really dope. And so I would hold them higher probably, and I have a bias towards that because it's authentic rather than trying to, acclaim to be the acclaim or something, but I'll step back. Sorry.
Brock got suspended. I called it. Brock got suspended. I called it. And I was like, what's going to happen is Brock's going to come out here. He's going to beat up everybody. He's going to get suspended. And that's exactly what happened. He beat up Adam Pearce.
Adam P. McMahon?
His pants ripped. The non-general manager, just the WWE official, Adam Pearce, who calls all the shots, but we're not going to have authority figures. But we'll have Adam Pearce, who's just an official, call all the shots.
Adam P. McMahon.
Yeah, Adam P. McMahon suspended. That's a callback. Suspended Brock Lesnar. And right before it happened, I'm like, Brock's going to come out here. He's going to suspend it. We're not going to see Brock till the Rumble time. I think we can all agree we're getting Brock Roman at WrestleMania. The 3-peat. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be a 4-peat?
31, 34.
Oh, you mean Mania?
Yeah, Mania. Yeah.
Oh. Nah.
Probably.
Yeah, maybe. One of those nights.
Yeah. And I honestly, once again, the dynamic between Brock and Roman now is way different than the dynamic between them then. Ponytail Brock as a babyface and Roman as the heel. So I'm okay with it because it is a different dynamic. And everyone that's saying rock, I don't think you can do that till next year in Hollywood. So that's just my opinion. But we all agree that Brock's going to probably face Roman at WrestleMania. That's all we can really say about
I want him to win.
That too. I'm not against him winning. I was okay with him winning at Crown Jewel if he won at Crown Jewel, to be honest.
Yeah, I was rooting for Brock to win. Honestly, I'm tired of Roman. I'm just gonna be honest.
I'm not tired of Roman. I just don't know.
I feel like eventually he's going to get stale to me. The only reason why I feel like his storyline seems to still be relevant is because of Paul Heyman. Now we got Brock making, well, at the time before he got suspended, was making things a lot more interesting because it's seeing babyface Brock against a heel Roman who still isn't that great on the mic. I don't care how many lessons he learned. But I guess, I mean, I'm just really, I want him to lose a title so that he can go ahead and get it back. Like him just holding this title and deciding if he want to open or close the show. It's just, I don't know. I'm bored with the man a little bit. I'm just a little bored. Like I need him to do something.
I'm not bored, but I do think what his act, like what they're doing, it's starting to run its course. So like you need someone to finally defeat him so we can get him having a motive again, because he's killed everybody. He's killing it, and I love it. And I'm okay with him holding it till WrestleMania, but I've been saying for months now that there's two things that have keeping me tuned into WWE. And those two things are what Roman Reigns is doing and then the women's division, because everything else is just blah to me. Even like there's cool stuff happening, but like it's not making me want to tune in. Like I don't really care to tune into Raw tomorrow. But I kind of like SmackDown because I want to see what Roman does, and I want to see what was happening with Sasha, Bianca, Charlotte, Becky. Like there's actual like top tier competitors that are all hungry to be champion on the women's division. On the men's side, it seems like we have champions, but there's not really like Orton's happy being a tag team, AJ's happy being a tag team, Lashley's on Gold. Like there's like there's something missing about Neesin. You want to say something about the whole Roman being stale thing?
Acknowledge that, man. Okay, stale.
I look past him. That man is clear. I can't see him. I can't see him. Okay.
First of all, this man has smashed everyone. Okay. Now he didn't beat them, Justin. He smashed them.
With the help of his cousins, who are now holding the Universal title along with the Universal title belongs to the Usos.
He is the greatest Universal champion. Okay, the greatest Universal champion.
I beg to differ. The Usos are the best Universal champion. Okay.
Okay. Look,
we've seen Roman win clean a few times. Roman has cheated a lot to win, as he's supposed to, because he is a heel. He is supposed to cheat to win. That's how you book a heel. But he has won a couple of clean wins himself. I've said it many times. What Roman Reigns' character is that he knows he's good. He knows he's good, right? He was pushed to be that top guy. The fans weren't about it. So he was an insecure, really good guy. Like he's an insecure top guy. He knows how good he is, but the fans weren't about it. So now he's saying F the fans. And every now and then, because of his insecurities, he will cheat to win. But we know Roman can win clean if he chooses to.
He smashed them. Do I have to say that one more time?
There has been a lot of times that the only reason Roman wanted it because of the
Let's talk about pony hair. Let's talk about ponytail Brock. It took Brock to grow a ponytail for us to actually want to see Brock versus Roman and actually want to see I guess Roman, whatever the outcome you would like to see. Personally, I don't think Brock should take the title off of Roman. Personally, I think they're going to have Drew McIntyre beat Roman Reigns because, and look, this is exactly how I feel, Santana. Guys, you're watching the Patreon version. I don't know why you're not. Go ahead and subscribe. But if you're watching, you saw the reaction that Santana just gave when I said that, because I feel the same way too. But I think that you just don't have, in order to move towards the future, and I think we all know this, you have to, Roman has beaten every single one, good or bad, heel or whatever, right? He's beating every single one. So that means the person that beats him is that person that, you know, that earned that spot that is going to be now where Roman stands at, that can stand on top of that mountain, that high mountain that Roman has built. Roman has built a legacy with that Universal Championship. Not by only beating Brock, not only beating Cena, not only beating Kevin Owens, not only beating Cesaro. You go down the list and not only beating these guys, but choking them out, like pinning them 1, 2, 3.
That little weak submission move he got on. Anybody can get out of that. Please, that is the worst submission move I have ever seen in my entire life.
Have you watched UFC?
Trash. He does the most trash submission move ever.
Can I piss both you off?
Have you watched UFC?
Have you ever seen John Cena put on an STF?
It's weak too. They're not meant to. Why you want to bring up John Cena?
Yeah, I don't
We're
know why
talking
you
about
doing that.
John Cena.
Why
We're
do you
talking about
we're
You're
talking
gonna
about
sit
John
here
talking about
and you're
John
gonna
Cena.
praise
just
Roman
bring in
Reigns
something.
and
You
his
are
weak
such
ass
a fan.
submission, and
You
John Cena
are
being
such a
best
fan of John
people
Cena.
with his weak ass STF that wasn't even locked
Well, I
in.
mean,
They could
first of
win
You
all,
are
that.
such a fan of
I-
John Cena. You always got to bring him up in the conversation.
John
I'm a
Cena,
very fan of
the
John Cena,
worst
but I don't know
wrestler of
what's
all
wrong with
time.
Justin.
Whatever.
John Cena's the
Like,
worst
you always want
wrestler
to
of
bring
all
up John
time.
Cena every time we're talking about Roman
He's a
Reigns.
great human being. He might be a great human being, but the worst wrestler of all time.
What?
Whatever. What?
How is John Cena
That
worse?
is with other people that can work.
Oh my God.
Could work. Do you know
Wow.
what working is,
Put the puzzle
Justin?
together.
Justin, do you know what working
Guys,
is?
last night I watched Bound for
now you
Glory.
can turn,
The first Bound for
turn
Glory
that.
I have
Wow.
watched
Yeah, you don't know
in
working.
years.
Yeah.
And we saw the Impact debut of the Inspiration,
Could work.
Cassie Lee and Jessica McKay.
Can they work?
Came in there and they defeated the Decay of Havoc and Rosemary. I specifically tuned in because I want to see the debut of the Inspiration, and luckily it was the first match on the show. I did end up watching the entire show, but I'm happy for them, man. I'm happy for formerly known Peyton Royce and Billy Kay thriving in a women's division where they actually focus on the women. Because a lot of people are like, why didn't they go to AEW? But then I thought about it.
I mean,
like, AEW
obviously-
doesn't have a tag division, and these women want to be a tag team, and Impact focuses on their knockouts probably better than any company has, even before the women's revolution in the WWE. So shout out to Cassie and Jessica. I get used to these names, and I'm happy for them. How did you feel about it, Santana? Because I know you watched along as well.
I mean, I was glad that they started the match off with them. I was pretty excited to see, and I know that they were really happy to be able to be back as being a tag team after, you know, what Peyton decided. Well, Cassie decided that she felt as if like they should be on their singles run or whatever. And now here we are. They're back being a tag team because she knew that her run in WWE wasn't going to be that didn't go anywhere. Her partner got pregnant.
She couldn't work, Santana. She couldn't
at
work.
all. Billy had more TV time than Payne did. Let's be honest. Billy was the character. Even though she was out here handing out her headshots or whatever, she still was on TV. She had her last match at WrestleMania. What was Payne doing? Sitting in the audience looking. But however, I will say,
I'm not saying he shall not be named couldn't work. I'm just saying he worked better with people that were better workers than him, which is almost everybody. Okay, go on.
We're gonna have a Becky
on,
conversation, by the way.
We're trying to talk about women, and you guys are inserting men into this conversation. Okay, we're talking about women.
I didn't.
The women's wrestling.
I did not.
The floor is yours.
Back to what I was saying. With the Inspiration, I'm happy for them. I mean, of course, we knew they were gonna. They ain't no way you're gonna let them debut at Bound for Glory and then lose. Like, there's no way.
Yeah, there was a lot of fans that were like, they better not win the tag titles right off the bat. That's so stupid.
They were gonna win the titles anyway.
How do you make an impact on Impact? You need
exactly. Come on now, they were gonna win anyway. But I'm happy for them. I'm happy, and I'm ready to see how iconic their title reign is going to be. And you can also check out my article that I wrote on them on Women's Wrestling Talk as well. You can find out a little bit more about that, as I am the host and editor over there.
And if you want to, like, literally, that article is up like, I want to say like not even a half hour after they won.
No, so like 30 minutes. Like after the match was over, I was posting it.
Yeah, so if you want like instant, feedback, and if you're like, why did these women win the titles? Like, Santana told you why in her article, like right there. She put them over and explained why they won those belts. So check that out on Women's Wrestling Talk, guys. Neesin, did you watch Bound for Glory, and how did you feel about it?
Did not watch Bound for Glory. Honestly, I forgot Bound for Glory was yesterday, but I was also doing 1,000 things. But I did see, then saw clips on the internet, and like Santana said, like, how else do you debut the Inspiration when not having them with a title? I will say, to your point though, Justin, about them going to AEW, that would have been, as much as it is a splash and a get for Impact, I think it would have been a bigger splash and a bigger get for AEW, because that instantly would have gave them a women's tag division, and they could have, instead of doing or in coupled with the TBS title, they could have did a women's tag team title tournament as well. It's not like they don't have women that aren't paired up already. They have enough for that they could have, if they really wanted to say, hey, we want to focus on women and we're going to do it better than a competition. We're actually going to have a women's tag division and not just titles just to have them. That would have been the move to make. But regardless, they didn't make it. Kudos to, whatever, Impact for landing that deal. I think this is huge for Impact because, Mickey James winning their in couple with Mickie James winning their women's title that night. I think it's great to have that with the inspiration with them coming off one hell of a run after WWE. They had a podcast. They sold their season 2 of their podcast. They got they did the whole music video thing. And now people just want to root for them because, you know, one, they don't want them to go back to Australia, and two, like, they thought they were underutilized at the main company. So I think it's amazing, and I can't wait to see more. They're definitely going to have me tuning in for Impact to see their segments.
And I think that's the thing. I think Peyton and Billy, or Cassie and Jessica, are just very likable. Even when they were heels, like, fans low-key like them. Don't mind, all those fans are like, they're so annoying. But most people, like, we like them and we wanted to see them succeed, and I think they're doing that now. We should be happy for them, especially if you are fans of them. And right. I think they had more room to succeed personally in Impact than they did in AEW because they don't have a tag division. But I do see a point of them introducing a tag division. But I think what AEW did with the TBS title, I think their mindset was, well, WWE has the tag titles, Impact has tag titles, everybody's trying to make women's tag titles. Like, maybe we should. No one really has a secondary women's title that's not the main one, and I think that's why they went with the TBS title. I don't know how I feel, but it's still
a women's division.
Then that's a thing, and before I was gonna transition into AEW with that point, but I also want to say just really quickly, I don't agree with Mickie James winning the Impact Women's Championship. I thought that was a bad move.
A lot of people don't.
I think that's almost like Edge beating Roman when Roman's on the top of his game, or Cena coming back and beating Roman and Roman's on top. You don't take the old guy, bring him in, and have them beat your young talent that's on the top of their game. For what reason? For a pop for the night? It's stupid. Deonna was killing it. I was enjoying what Deonna was doing, and she should have been reigning still as dominant as she should be. And cool for Mickie. Okay, you complained about a trash bag coming to your house, and now everybody automatically cares about you again when nobody was asking for you to get pushed when you were in the WWE at the time, but then they felt sympathetic for you after you got released. Good for you. She gets more clout by talking shit about the WWE than anything else she does. Talking about the TBS Championship. This is why I say
Mickie James follow you.
No, she doesn't. But this is why I say I give you my most honest opinions on the show that I won't give you on my page, because that's how I really feel. There's probably 2 or 3 women that get more relevant by talking shit about the WWE than anything they're actually ever doing. Mickey's on that list. I will not talk about the other ones. The TBS Championship.
Be a man, Hogan.
The TBS Championship. They released the brackets on Rampage. We've already seen what is happened in the first round. We know that I think it was Ruby Soho beat Penelope. That's the only one that's happened so far on Dynamite.
Of course.
Which was obvious that they weren't going to let Penelope go over Ruby Soho.
The head of the table slayer, right?
But do we know why all these other women got buys? Was it because of their records?
Because they're stars. Besides Nyla Rose.
It's because of their records, as well as because they are one of the top, I guess you would say, one of the other secondary top contenders for this title. Of course, like your Thunder Rosa, of course, my girl Jade, always. And then, you know, of course, Nyla Rose, and of course, Chris Statlander too. Me personally, I know that everybody is really gunning for Jade to win this title. I don't want her to win this title. I want her to go after Britt Baker. That's what I want. I feel like with this secondary title, what is it going to do for the women's division? I mean, at this point, give it to Ruby Soho. I mean, everybody felt as if, like, you know, her coming over to AEW is going to make some type of impact. I don't think it did. No shade to her. I think she's an amazing worker. However, I mean, after her losing to Britt, I mean, I don't think it really did anything else for her but put her in a couple of matches and whatnot. But I would have to say that I don't want Jade to win, but maybe let it go to Nyla, or even everybody's fan favorite, who I don't understand why, Thunder Rosa.
We'll get to your reaction about the Thunder Rosa thing.
Did I step on some toes? Did I
defend Thunder Rosa?
Did I get my Tims out?
I want to react to 2 of the points you made. I do think what this TBS title is supposed to represent is what the TNT title has been for the men's division, and I do think the TNT title has given opportunities to guys that maybe aren't going to be in the main title picture anytime soon, be champions and like prestigious kind of champions. Like Cody had it, who when Cody said he wasn't going to go after the world title, he had that TNT title. Darby had that TNT title run, and it did kind of elevate Darby as a person on that card. Sammy has it now. Sammy's someone that's deserving for the title. Miro had it. It elevated Miro after Miro went to the whole video game situation. I think that's what they're expecting the TBS title to be for the women, is exactly what the TBS title is. It's that middle card title. It's that Intercontinental Championship. Well, okay, Brett, maybe in 1991 you weren't ready to be the world champion, but let us put this strap on you and see if you can carry this with pride and make it mean something. Then maybe that'll elevate you to the next step. That being said, I understand what the TBS championship is, and I understand why you don't want Jade to be the first one to win it. There's only a couple of issues there. The only way to get Jade out of this tournament then is if she loses by DQ or something, which they can easily go that route, because I don't want Jade's streak to end yet. So you can go that route where she loses by a DQ or a count out or something that makes it where she doesn't win this title. Then eventually she gets to go after Britt. But I don't know if Tony's all about the whole heel versus heel thing, because technically they're both heels. Even though Jade's over with the fans and the DMD's super over with the fans, they're technically both heels. The thing that I pitched to you guys yesterday was, I'm like, well, you could have Jade win this belt, and you could make it mean more where like the first ever TBS champion somehow gets a shot at the women's championship, and then she wins both, and she does the old school thing, not the new modern thing of holding both belts, but the old school thing being like, well, I have this belt now, I'm going to vacate that one, and she holds the women's titles. And Jade was the first ever TBS champion that never lost it. You could go that route too. I don't know, but then again, there are people on this bracket that are also deserving to win this belt, and it can mean something for them. A Ruby Soho, a Thunder Rosa, a Chris Statlander, women that had title opportunities in the past but didn't really succeed. They could potentially win this one and make it mean something. Like a Cody Rhodes had a title opportunity in the past, didn't succeed, but it still meant something when he won the TNT title the first time around, and he made it.
Who did it mean something to? Who did it mean something to?
I mean, he was the first champion, and Cody's a relevant name. It's like how Jericho should have been the first AEW champion because he was a relevant name.
Well, I don't care about our Cuban King. Okay,
Cuban King Cody Rhodes.
I don't care about that man.
Neesin, you want to defend Thunder Rosa. Why do you think?
What
do you think Thunder Rosa is deserving to be the first TBS champion?
Pause. Did I miss something about Cuban King? Who's a Cuban King?
Oh, you didn't see that they're doing the whole nationality? What's it?
They had a heritage night, and
thing.
Cody Rhodes was on the flyer along with.
Oh, I did see
Thunder
that. Yes.
Rosa.
Yes.
And I was like, "Dang, is he?" They said that man is of Cuban descent, so I'm like, "That's how Cubana King." Right.
So not
there.
only did he say racism, he also is a representation for the Cuban culture.
I can't say anything bad about Cody Rhodes because my good friend Cody. Hey man, you could be Cuban, you could be whatever.
I like Cody as a wrestler and stuff.
Just keep approving wrestlers to be a part of my show, and we're good.
No, he's a man. He is the man.
Great.
I like Cody. I think Cody was a great TNT champion. I enjoy his matches. I enjoyed his match with Malachi this past week. I just think there's been some questionable decisions since he's been EVP of
Thunder Rosa.
Yeah. Some of his storyline choices have been interesting. But Thunder Rosa, do you think Thunder Rosa is deserving of winning this TBS championship?
What did Thunder Rosa do to you, Santana? I think Thunder Rosa showed up and has put foots to people's faces the most ruthless and believable way as possible. She has given matches after matches, and they have been pretty damn dominant. I love Thunder Rosa's in-ring ability and the fact that she looks like she can talk shit on the corner any time of day in the week. And then plus, on top of that, she a mama, but still out here posing all sexy and stuff and not letting that stop her. I love these things. I went to her page and I was like, oh my God, like this is Thunder Rosa. She doing a lot. And then I'm like, oh, well, shit, she's also kicking people's asses. I love it. It's amazing. I don't understand why people don't like Thunder Rosa. I honestly think this is her title to win because, like you said, I would rather Jade win the AEW's women's title. I think that's the title she should be winning, and that's the person that should take it off of Brent Baker, and that's the person who should start a new legacy with the title. Because Jade is that chick. Or look, I want Jade to come over to WWE, honestly. Because they will make her a huge star.
Yeah, but Jade gets better in the ring, though. I will say.
Yeah.
I would say that. I always said that when I first saw Jade, she caught my eye. Her presence was everything. She has the look. She has everything. She can talk on the mic. she moves in the ring like she's doing a cha-cha slide. I need her to get better.
She hasn't had the opportunity to really. There's no
Her
NXT.
matches have been
NXT for AEW. There's no development like that. They have the Nightmare.
What they do? They have the Nightmare Family. Stop lying, Justin.
But they have the Nightmare Family. That means she's not really having
in the ring. Let her do some nightmare matches.
She's not having competitive matches on television for a television crowd to really let her like feel. Like a lot of her matches have been squash matches, as they should be, but until we get to see her work a little bit more in matches with actual people, not just in the Nightmare Factory where you're protected and comforted. Like
protected, comforted. Did you see what they did to Cody Rhodes in the Nightmare Family? He got slapped by people.
They have the performance center, but they have the performance center, right? But the real actual in-ring training happens when they're filming NXT. That's when you get to actually showcase what you've been learning in the performance center. Jade's learning stuff in the Nightmare Factory. She hasn't really got to perfect it on the shows that she's been on, whether it's dark or whatever. Like it's been squash matches. So she is a little green in the ring. I'm agreeing with what you guys are saying. I'm saying that's why.
Well, I'm saying that this is why I would want her to go to WWE because of, again, WWE is great at hiding those things. They will make you a huge star even if you can't work. Justin.
Yeah, they will. You can't walk on an STF. You'll still be a champion for like 10 years.
Talk about working.
But she turned down a WWE contract though.
You said
for
what?
AEW. She turned down a WWE contract for AEW.
Yeah, well, yes, she turned down, but I think now, right? Like I think you look at people like MJF, and this is something I've been screaming about since AEW started. I was like, the two people that I could see that would make a big splash and a big jump over to WWE are MJF and Ricky Starks. Now, Ricky Starks just re-signed a contract, but it's the things about personality and presence. Those two people hold personality and presence and don't need to do any extra moves or have outstanding matches. They literally just need the personalities in WWE and make them a huge star. And I think Jade falls into that. I think it's perfect to get her. I think it was great for her to go to AEW first because now she's going to be treated like a star when it's time to go to WWE. Because no matter how you put it, AEW, WWE being a star, being, competition, whatever, WWE will make you a huge star.
Yeah, and we've seen it with certain guys. And that's true to your point. Like we haven't seen guys yet go from AEW to WWE, but it's gonna happen eventually. Like same with WCW. Eventually we started seeing the Jerichos and the Radicals all jump ship at some point. And it will happen. And I know MJF is 23 years old. There's time for him to soak and season himself in AEW.
23?
Yeah, he's young.
Yeah, he's
young. Look old the hell. That man like in his 30s.
Well,
he must be hitting that hard in his younger life.
Yeah, but I agree with you. Ricky Starks, MJF, those are guys I can see in the WWE in the future. MJF, as the heel he is, always kind of like says, maybe I'll work with Roman one day. Maybe I'll be in the WWE. Who says? He's never in personal conversations with him. He has the time. But I was gonna say, like, look at guys, and we talked about this. I don't know if we talked about it on that this week on wrestling, if I talked about it on here. Like, you can tell the guys that went through the WWE system, the indie guys that didn't. No disrespect to the Young Bucks and Kenny Omegas. I think they're tremendous and they're great at what they do. But you put an Adam Cole next to them, and there's like a little bit of shine on Adam Cole that's like he kind of knows how to do this a little bit better than they do. And he doesn't feel that indie anymore because he went through that WWE system. There's something about Bryan Danielson and CM Punk. If you really are a wrestling history buff or a smart mark, like Daniel Bryan and CM Punk are like the ambassadors for independent wrestling in the early 2000s. Like those were the indie darlings of the early 2000s. But the reason they carry themselves the way they carry themselves today on AEW is not because they're older and they grew up. It's because they went through the WWE system and they kind of have that extra shine on them how to carry themselves on a television program and how to wrestle a television way. And to Neeson's point, one day we'll see a Ricky Starks or a Jade or an MJF go through the WWE system, and it's only going to make them better because as much as people want to shit talk the WWE, they know how to make people into stars. And that's a callback all the way to the first conversation where I said if they lost Charlotte, it'd be a loss. Neeson does have a point. If they lose a Charlotte, they'll know how to make a new star to someone else that can replace her. It's still a loss in my mind, but they will be able to recover, as the WWE is known to always recover.
They lost a whole brand, and they're still fine. A whole brand is gone. It's gone.
What do you mean you don't like NXT 2.0?
Do not utter those stupid words, okay?
I still watch NXT 2.0. I still
I
watch
like it, but I still feel like I'm watching a Saturday morning program. I like it, but it's not the same NXT. It's different.
I only still watch NXT just to see my baby daddy on there. Everybody else I can care less about, baby.
Pete
And
Dunne.
Last Legend, I do like her.
Pete Dunne is her baby daddy.
I love P Dunne. P Dunne is my guy. I love P Dunne. You know, you can't help. You ain't doing nothing about the bruiserweight. You know what I'm saying? I just
Besides keep him tied up with somebody that looks like they've been dead for fucking 5 months.
Well, now he's not tied to anybody, you know. Like,
Von Wagner, is he tied? Who? No, that's
Rich Holland.
Rich Holland's up on the main roster. He's on SmackDown now.
Why would you draft Ridge and not draft Pete, motherfucker?
Because Pete still got a contract with NXT, right? He still got like 3 years.
He just re-signed.
He got 3 years with NXT.
They break NXT contracts all the time to call people up.
Well, look, I would want him to be called up, but I would need them to utilize him the way that they should. He's a small guy. But he can put on banger matches with somebody like a Walter, who is 10 times his height, way bigger than him, way maybe stronger than him. But he's a bruiserweight. He's a tough guy. He has a very, very interesting style, judo, all of that stuff, Japanese style, all of that. So that incorporate that with who he is and bringing him up to the main roster. He can talk on the mic. He has this scary demeanor. Like, he may be a small guy, but don't mess with him.
You know,
your ass.
We seen that in this brand that they used to have over there. It was great. It used to be in Full Sail sometimes, and then they went to the PC. They used to do like these weekend events like quarterly, and it was like full arenas, and everybody would come out and they'd be like, yeah, like, you know, the Boston Blueprint, the Standard, the Go to Draw, the Queen of the Cell, the DDT Mandalorian, Sasha Banks used to work there. It was a really great time, guys. Yeah, it was great. It hurts my soul every time we talk about it. Yeah.
Punk.
It was the black and gold before AEW. Yeah, because I'm sorry.
Punk, Bryan, and Adam Cole are there existing. Yes, Cole's doing stuff with Jungle Boy. Yes, Punk is obviously fighting Bobby Fish, and yes, Bryan is in the World Title Eliminator Tournament after a great match with Dustin Rhodes, and people want to see them. But I'm just gonna say it right now. It just feels like they exist. They're not really. Not any of them are really. Unless you are really involved in this Jungle Boy Adam Cole feud, they just exist.
Well, Jungle Boy went flying this week.
He did. That was a good segment. That beatdown was good.
Finally told me why he's a part of the Jurassic Park Express people. Like, he can fly. So I'm happy about it. I like this angle, and he's so over. And I'm not mad at this whole Adam Cole and Jungle Boy thing. I think it's I mean, he really. I'm just ready for Adam Cole to break away from Kenny Omega and take his little title away. Because right now he looks so out of place with them. Honestly, like Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, they look like them. But Adam Cole, he looks like he should be holding the title. It's like everybody else to this side. I don't see them. I don't even acknowledge them.
They're his boys.
Adam Cole.
They're his boys. He fit in with them when he was in Ring of Honor doing the PW.
That's great. That's Ring of Honor. That was a different time.
And now he's standing next to him. You're like, there's something different about him and them. And it's very obvious.
Of course, it's something different. Look at this man.
Like, he fits in, but he doesn't fit in. Like, he fits in because you know that they're actual friends, but then he doesn't fit in because you're like, I feel like he could be doing more by himself. Like,
they look like a bunch of Adam Cole and the Babies, you know? That's all.
Oh, God.
Like, he should be the friend.
One encounter with him and Bobby Fish.
So, as much as I'm saying, I want, like, to sink my teeth into something with these three guys that they brought in that everybody's, like, happy about is I think Bryan probably wins this Eliminator tournament, which is great. And Hangman will win the belt, and maybe we'll get a Hangman Bryan feud, which will be good. Omega loses the belt and hopefully feuds with Adam Cole. And that will be all set. I don't know what they're doing with Punk. I'm happy Punk's back. Punk's one of my top 10.
Just wrestling everybody.
He's just fighting everybody. I'm happy he's doing that, but like I want something for Punk to do that I can sink my teeth in.
That's because you're so used to the WWE storylines, Justin. You're so used to storylines.
This is PWG, bro. This is PWG live on television. This is all.
And I know that. And I know that, but I want something. Because let me tell you something. As much and as silly and as stupid a lot of the Cody stuff has been with Arn Anderson, I've loved all of this Malachi Cody stuff.
I love it because of Malachi. I think Malachi has done a great job of storytelling. Like with the last post he posted on Instagram was like, this is all I wanted. I wanted people to boo you. Like I win basically at the end of the day. Like the house always wins. It's just like the story that Malachi Black is telling is incredible. The fact that Cody doesn't get why people don't like him in real life.
He was getting booed out of
That
the
scares
arena.
me. And it also scares me that people just forgave him.
When he's trying real hard, even on social media interviews, to say, like, no, I'm still a good guy. Like, no, like, I'm not going to turn into like.
I had an interracial child to save racism.
Yeah, and like he's trying real hard to stay the good guy, but the fans are like,
that was Santana that said that was me.
Just embrace it, you know. Embrace. Yeah, if you're not watching, you guys don't know who actually said that. We can't tell voices or anything, but embrace the people booing you. And as much as other people might dislike it, I grew up on WCW and I understand they got way too redundant and repetitive and it kind of fucks shit up. But I like the overbooked endings. I like Andrade randomly coming out there and Pac coming out there and Arn Anderson with his Glock, and then Andrade playing the parallels on Dynamite coming out with his pistol, and they're both pointing that shit, ready to, you know, go at each other. Like, I don't know what the friendship between Andrade and Malachi is, but I'm intrigued by it. Like, I want to see more of it. I like everything that's going on there. I literally like everything that's going on there. I like everything that's going on like that, and that goes to Santana's point. And to what I say on every show I'm on and this show a million times. I am a very storyline character guy. I love a good wrestling match as much as the next person. I will watch a really good wrestling match over and over again. But I'm more invested in a match when I'm invested in the story and characters. WWE is the storyline character place. That's why I think the women's division is thriving there, because they're all such big characters and the stories and they all intertwine. And Roman's a story that's going on. It is actually a captivating story, even though a lot of you don't want to agree with that. In AEW, they got really good wrestling and they put on really good matches, but there's not many things that I'm like I love Hangman because there's a long build story there.
Man, Hangman, give me more cowboy shit. That is the best story, hands down. That's been going for the last 2.5 years. I want more cowboy shit. Give me more cowboy shit.
Give me more
all day of the week.
Give me more Hangman. Give me more of the stories, because I dig the fucking stories. They have really good matches, but like I said, you have Punk, Bryan, and Adam Cole there, but I don't really. And there is a storyline they are playing that
there's a storyline with Adam Cole. There's a storyline that they're definitely.
Yeah, it's in there if you pick up the seeds. Like him and Kenny are gonna go at it sooner than later.
Oh, for sure.
But there's the other storyline that's happening that I could give two shits about, and that's the whole America's Top Team and the Men of the Year against the Inner Circle. But like, I love what Miro's doing with his promos. I think the last 2 weeks of Miro promos,
God's greatest champion.
Epic, good shit. I think the stuff that MJF is doing with Darby and Sting, like, good shit.
I love turtles.
I love everything. That whole MJF Sting segment this week was awesome. Darby's gonna come back angry. I think MJF got under his skin, and then there's the underlining problems between MJF and Wardlow that they've been playing off since they've been together. Like, there's stuff going on. FTR is finally being
another guy. That's another guy WWE making to a huge star. By the way, you know Bruce Pritchard's like, the minute your contract is up, you're gonna have something in your email. Like the minute if it's up at 11:59. There's your contract. Get over here.
So yeah, I don't know. We could talk about like Pac and Andrade. If you guys didn't watch it this past week on Rampage, go check it out. It was a really good match. Malachi and Cody, I really enjoyed the match. I enjoyed all the afterbirth shenanigans with Andrade and Pac, and I don't know, the stuff that happens after the birth.
Christ.
Can I just say that the
type of stuff that's on my mind. Okay?
I'm
about to have a baby. I got baby shit all over my mind.
Please. I want to say that the amount of time that they are putting into creating these stories with the men, I wish they do that with the women.
We can talk another hour about AEW's women's division.
There's so many women.
Look, Kate Conti's getting a match against Anna Jay because.
Ciao, please.
Isn't she getting a match with
Britt Baker.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
record.
Yeah.
Yo, fuck this record shit. That's not a storyline to me, guys. I hate the fucking record shit. And they don't even stay loyal to it.
It's a sport.
You can win a battle royal or something to get a title shot if your record sucks. Because if you're Fuego del Sol, just win a match and you get a title shot. Fuck your record.
That man died every week. Okay.
If it's on dark, it's on Elevation.
Fuck the records. Honestly, let's just scratch the records and get rid of them and just get back to like story. Because the records only matter when they want the records to matter. But otherwise, it's
Jay
like
Cargill. Undefeated
and a record is different. Because if you're undefeated, that's a different story. If you're like 50-1 and we're supposed to care about your record, you still lost once, whatever. Like, you know, like I don't know.
I was going to Jay Cargill. But yeah, I'm sorry. But yes, I agree with you, Santana, for sure. They need
Yeah, that's a whole. We can go another whole hour. Maybe we'll do the next week because we went way over time this week. But we had to talk about Charlotte and Becky.
Part 1, part 2, baby.
No, fuck, I'm just gonna drop it. Dash Radio is coming. We're going back to Dash Radio soon, but we're not there yet, so we can still be over an hour. Outside of that, guys, thank you guys for tuning in, man. Check out Santana at Women's Wrestling Talk and her other website, Culture Commentator. That very controversial article about Big E as champion and wrestling fans thinking that Big E as champion makes him a goof. Santana defended Big E, and he's not a goof champion. So
wait,
don't look like that. Do not look like that. You have to go read the article in order to understand why I said what I said in my title.
The title of the article.
Why would
no. Justin just said that you defended him in the article, so he just gave your hook away. I was saying, why are people saying this?
You not read the comment section on my page?
I don't, because I will slap this. I get no.
Oh no, he doesn't.
You know people I have to deal with on a regular basis. Earlier.
I'm in the fan favorites in the comment section.
When Santana speaks and she gets attacked in my comments.
Exactly. I say hello, Justin. The fans like, why you say hello to Justin? Like that's the type of heat that we get.
Yeah, I'm not in your. I'm in your comments. I say one thing and I'm out. Like,
I'm there for the long run.
So there was a very, very common, more popular than the people that were happy for Big E being champion. A more common thread of people being like, "Why is he a champion? He's a goof. He's too silly to be champion. He's not serious enough." Santana went through the comment section and fought with a lot of those people, and then also went ahead and wrote an article about why he's champion, his achievements, accomplishments. But the title of the article was, "Why is Big E a champion if he's such a goof?" or something. Why would they let a goof like Big E be the WWE champion? That was the title of the article. That was to get people in there.
And that's what everybody. That's really where they stopped at. A lot of people
stopped reading after the title and just started reading Santana
and started to attack me for saying that as my title because they didn't choose to go read the article.
So culture comment.
But I told them that I had my black forces on and they were laced good. So I'm prepared for anybody. And I said what I said in that article the same way as I said in the comment section.
That's right.
I got on everybody. I didn't when a guy was like something about, oh well, what Big E do at live shows is for the kids. Fuck them kids. Don't bring your kids to the show. We was watching bikini matches, pudding matches. We were watching Lita and Edge have sex in the middle of the ring. What are you talking about? Sable had pastes on her boobs. Okay,
tag me in all these posts because I'll be right along with you. I have on mid Air Force black all blacks. How about that? I'll put mid all black on with a samurai sword and a ski mask. Just because I'm gonna pull my anime moves out on these hoes. I'm gonna be a demon slayer on these goddamn racist demons because that's all they are. They want us to be one way. It always got to be one way. No, why it always got to be one way? You know what, Justin? I know you was trying to sign off. Go ahead, do your thing, but always tag me in these because I always got time to slap somebody digitally anytime and place.
Well, you would have had fun the last couple of weeks because anytime I posted Santana's article of Big E, it was a war zone.
I didn't see it.
A war zone.
I don't even see how you missed it. Like it was. I definitely
posted a better article that had like 1,000 comments of just people fighting over Big E. And if he's a serious enough champion.
Santana, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna have a town hall where we just gonna set up and we're gonna put the link, an open link to whoever want to come in and make some points about how Big E is a goof and shouldn't have champions, and just
we should go live on Instagram
the shit out of everybody.
Go live on Instagram and just do a Big E special.
And I will definitely be there because they never gave me a logical answer as to why someone like him being a goof should be champion. They never gave me a reason. The only thing they kept saying was that, oh, well, you're right, he shouldn't be champion, or every champion should be serious, like a Roman Reigns, or like, but I'm like, let's go down the list. And I listed and I listed every wrestler that was a comedic wrestler that held a title, a WWE title, world title, and I listed that. There is nothing, they couldn't even try to validate exactly why that
transpired. Austin, Kurt Angle, shut up. Like, shut your mouth. Go somewhere. Go somewhere. Get out of here.
I was just like, it is what it is. Like, I was waiting for someone to try to back up why my article should be indifferent. Why do you think he doesn't deserve to be a champion? A lot of them kept saying because he's a goof. Look at what he do at live shows. I'm like, this is the thing. He's at a live event. He's there to be funny. On TV, he's not out here grinding on turnbuckles, which I said I should have been one, but he's not out here grinding on turnbuckles. He's not out here kissing on championships or whatever. He's not doing that on TV. He's only doing that live events because it's funny. He's there to be entertaining. That's what he's there to do. Right. Stop being so serious all the time. Even serious champions get stale at some point.
Facts.
So, it's a lot beginning to be him.
So we're this is settled. Santana, we're gonna do this. We're gonna help it a town hall meeting. I'm serious. We're gonna schedule it. It's gonna be Big E's town hall, and we're gonna have everybody. We're gonna. You said what?
And we're gonna promote it beforehand.
Yeah, we're gonna promote it.
I'm here for it.
We're gonna tell everybody to join. Here's the link to join. You got 1 minute to make your case each, and we had to make your case why Big E should not be champion. And we got all the time in the world to fucking kill you. Lyrically,
I'll just moderate it. I agree with you guys, but I'll moderate it. I'll be the okay.
On to the next. Everybody.
On to the next.
All right, I'm with it. Let's do it.
But other than that, Santana, because we went heavy in that. I think last week or two. What else have you done recently on Women's Wrestling Talk that people should go check out?
Nothing really. I mean, well, I was a part of the PWI 150 where we're discussing the top 10 for the women who were number one. Of course, the ESTWD was number one. Of course, you can't help you can't help but have her number one. We went through the whole top 10 list of those who were in the top 10 list, and we discussed if we felt that they should be there or not. They asked for our opinions. Thunder Rose was like, what number 5? And they already know. I don't care about that woman. Sasha Banks was number 6, but she said in the top 10. But she could have been higher, but
she did.
She had vacation.
Yeah, she did that for most of the year.
And there were certain people who I felt like should have been higher as well. Like I didn't understand like why a Bailey was low when she was literally doing her thing and whatnot, but from the time period what they have, I still feel like she should have been higher.
Yeah, because it was October to September. Last year's October to September.
So I still feel like she should have been higher, although she did get injured. We discussed all of that.
And who was on that panel? Because you had people that were part of
so it was, I think her name was Christian. She was one of the editors and writers over at PWI, like a Bells to Bells as well. And Ella J was a part of that, was a part of one of the contributors as well. TK was there and Katrina. We were all there to discuss the top 10 women who made the top 10 list of the 150 PWI Women's Edition. And we didn't really go too deep as far as like anybody like 11 on backwards, but we did discuss it.
I want to point out that you had people that were actually involved in the decision making for this on that panel, so it wasn't just
so they answered all the questions.
Them there answering why certain people would put in that position and how they came up with the decisions, and that's why it's even more why I'm encouraging people more to go listen to it if you checked out the list and you have questions. This was also the first time they did 150. The PWI women's list was always 100, but considering the plethora of women's wrestlers out there and the amount of women's wrestling that's been going on these days, they bumped it up to 150. And that being said, I also want to point out that my girl Carmella still made it in the original top 100, so shout out to her, number 93. She made it in the top 100, so I'm happy for her because there's a lot of other names that didn't make it on the top
100. Okay,
she made it on the original list.
It was 93, I guess.
Made it on the original list. Happy birthday, Carmella! Congratulations on that.
I'm not gonna deal with you, Justin. Your foolishness at all whatsoever.
And then you guys also did a show on Charlotte Flair and our top 5 moments where you guys broke down.
Yeah, we did a top 5 Charlotte Flair moments with me and my tag team partner Nikki. One other half.
One lawsuit right there. Okay, go on.
Yeah, one other half of the Salt Shakers, the most dominant tag team there ever is, and we're both heels. So just so you know, you come for one, you come for both, and ain't no telling what's gonna happen.
Neesin really.
She the salt and I'm the shaker. Okay, she pours the salt and I shake the room. And here we are.
What do we got going on with you?
Pouring the salt and shaking the womb. That's the one line. Man, everything. I'm sorry. What are we talking about? You talking about what's going on with me wrestling wise?
We're wrapping this up, so let us know what's going on.
All right. So wrestling wise, that wrestling show right now we're in Tuesdays because we got jobbed out to Sunday football. So we're on Tuesday nights, 7:00 Pacific, 10:00 Eastern, live on that hashtag's YouTube channel or Twitch or Facebook, you could just come find me on Twitter or something for that. Other wrestling, we have Justin's videos that are dropping. He did a Carmella's top 5 moments. That'll be the next one that's dropping. And then we have some other ones dropping. We also have some ones that other THS Wrestling members did as well. On another note, I have Lee Moriarty. If you're a Lee Moriarty fan, I am having him on my show in a session for season 2. So make sure you tune into Revolt if you are a Revolt fan or whatever. Yeah, make sure you check out season 1. That'll be dropping in December. And season 2, that'll be dropping in February. And
really quick. What is in a session?
In a session, well, thanks for asking, Justin. In a session is a 2-chair conversation where I sit down with all type of creatives that are just creative in more than one field and have a raw, intimate conversation with them, and I allow them to showcase their talents in our segment called In the Booth, which is a 45-second segment to outlaw to your rap city, but they may be a painter, they may be a dancer, they may be a model, they may be more than just what you see. Like a Lee Moriarty, for instance, you see him on your Dynamite or your Dark or your Elevation on AEW, you see him as a wrestler, but did you know that he is an amazing visual painter? He could paint with spray paint, he could paint with bristles, he could paint with whatever. His artwork is pretty incredible. So we will love to showcase that side of him as well, and also talk about what inspires him, what was his fails, what was his triumphs, all those things that make the man we see on television today.
So I like to surround myself with people that are doing things, as you can tell, and we're all trying to work on some crazy stuff. So guys, make sure you go support them at Women's Wrestling Talk, at THS Wrestling. Go check out In a Session, check out the Culture Commentator. And when it comes to me, you guys know all the links are in my bio. You might see me in the comment section on Women's Wrestling Talk. You might even just see me on THS Wrestling co-hosting the show every once in a while. I'm all over the place, but my articles at 1:37 p.m. you guys can check out. I try to do 1 or 2 a month. My YouTube channel, you guys can check out my interviews, the Casual Conversations. There's a bunch from in the past. I have been slacking on that. I will get back to that very soon. And every week the TWC Show, guys. If you are listening to this or watching this, if you watched a short clip on my Instagram page, which will lead you to come listen to the whole episode for the first time, subscribe, follow, guys. This is where you get the real, authentic, uncut Justin that these people know, where I say stupid things that I might regret later, things that I actually feel that I won't say on my page. But because there's no filter here, we just shooting the shit. So guys, come to listen to the show and we'll keep doing the thing. Is there anything else you guys want to add? Oh, lastly, I never said it and I just want to say now because you probably believe more already. Congratulations to him getting signed, but also congratulations to Daniel Garcia getting signed, because great talent, been killing it on AEW, has been killing it on Dark and Dynamite, worked with Punk, worked with all these guys, had great matches. So I'm glad he's in that position and he's officially signed to AEW. That all being said, keep doing the thing. We'll see you all next time. And stop hating if you don't really know what's going on.
All hail King Woods.
All hail King Woods.
All hail King Woods, guys.
Ooh, yeah, dig it. Uh-huh.